Hey, it's Keith. How are you doing? Returning back to you with the best of 2010, part 2. And this one's going to be a little looser and longer than part 1. Partly because I think I'm going to send this as a kind of a holiday beginning of year message to a lot of my friends who are not necessarily subscribers. But in 2010, I went like a whole year without being on HIV meds. Actually, the grand total was a year and a half. I started in June 2009. I eradicated the virus, or so I thought, in the first half of the year, and I actually went and tested with a regular HIV test. There's actually two kinds of tests with HIV. There's the one that you take to find out if you're HIV positive or negative. And for some people that test does different things that are not true. Like some people actually test no, and then they find out like much later when they a condition comes up that that was a false test. And I just know one case of a guy who kept testing negative even when he had full-blown AIDS. So anyways, by summer I was like showing a viral load again, which means that the virus was still present in me. And so I guess like the best of 2010 is what I'm trying to say here is the saying from Nietzsche is that by being wounded power grows. And I can say that I feel kind of blessed in a sense to like wind up with this condition, which has really pushed me ahead. I've always, before I ever had to deal with HIV, I've always been into health food, but in terms of like really pushing the edge and being extreme and taking charge of my health, it's been a fun adventure, and I don't regret missing out on things, or there is no missing out on things really for me. I love this journey, and my doctors who keep testing me say, oh, you need to get on meds and enjoy life, and I am enjoying life. I would be doing this anyway. So a thing that I realized is that I love this journey. I love being extreme. I love finding out about all these magical things and finding out that there is so much more to us than what the masses would think and what the sort of teachers and leaders of this world would have us know. And so that's a very exciting thing to me. Also, on the best of 2010 is some of the spiritual stuff that I've learned. That stuff kind of came into me, I think, right at the end of 2009 was when I was really starting to spend some serious time around truth and learning some of his spiritual influences. I guess right up at the top of that list would be Ramtha. To none of you, Ramtha really came into my world in 2010, or at least the teachings of Ramtha anyways. And I gotta say that there's some, I didn't learn it, I only learned a few things from this book, and I think if you're an old soul when you read this book, they're just going to be triggers to stuff you already know. And I think a lot of people, when they learn New Age teachings, which are alternative teachings, things that are different. But the term New Age, like a lot of people like to act like New Age is like some kind of a new thing. The funny thing is the new kid on the block is Christianity, is not a lot of the philosophies that are in New Age thinking, which are mostly ancient thinking. New Age is ancient. It's not new, it's New Age because we've entered an age where that ancient thinking is the only truth. And so that's why it's New Age. Of our world, it's generally believed by a sort of elite group that this planet is really old. And Ramtha is actually from a time when the continents were all together. And I'm sure you've all heard that concept. I discovered other things, just like, I think I became fearless in 2010 because, first off, I lost the thing that was the most precious to me, which was my relationship, and then that came back, and so I got that back. That all went in 2010. But I became fearless also because after I learned the things I did, basically from late winter to the end of spring, were to do with like where we're from, what it's all about, you know, and I, in 2010, stopped believing in evolution. That was mostly what I believed in. And there's a whole concept that this fall that happens in the Bible is actually a fall on a bigger scale from our greatness, our greater years. And according to Ramtha, that CD I talked about, Minerals and Transmuting the Body, that whole CD talks about our greater time. And so a lot of those gaps were filled in for me. I was led to this book. And I've seen this book before. It's from like, I think the 80s actually. It's called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life by Drunvalo Melchizedek. And just to bring credibility to his name right now, the Mayan civilizations, which all deal with the quote-unquote 2012 prophecy and all that kind of stuff, the Mayans have never made any kind of and there's like, I don't remember the number, but there's a large number of Mayan tribes all over the place. And they have not, with all their legacy, they have not talked about anything to the world. And so when all this 2012 stuff started happening, they appointed Drunvalo to talk to everybody else as their spokesman. So anyways, this has a great story of where we really came from. And this is going to be a separate episode. This made me fearless because I believe, this made me realize what we are. And we are like so much more than what this simple world has told us, the matrix. And that's another thing that I learned in 2010, is calling the whole, what Gabriel Kuzins calls the death culture. Truth calls it being in the matrix. He uses the metaphor of you know, sort of everybody else being in the matrix, you know. And I think that's a good analogy. It seems to work for me because I feel like really outside of everybody, and I think that's another thing I learned in 2010 is I became more comfortable in my own skin than I've ever been, just because there is no definition, there's no time, you know, we've been, some of us 10,000 lives, so, you know, I became really fearless. And that is the awareness of the metaphysical. And so for me, that started, like, I've always been a sort of metaphysical person. I've been interested in conscious creation, which people call, like, the politically correct term is law of attraction. You know, to take it a step further, it is a conscious creation, and then the actual, like, sort of forbidden name that that has become very taboo is magic. And I mean MAGIC, magic, like things that are looked on as negative, black forces, which is all just crap that these sort of people that look to their own personal best interest call those Illuminati, or just call that like a general bad consciousness going, or consciousness going astray, with stupidity becoming the sort of consciousness of the mainstream, which I think we're still in. In 2010, when I was going to the tonic bar an awful lot, I got into, Truth had pointed out to me this thing, and I was actually sitting with Nicole, and when he pointed out, this thing is called a quantum pendant, and they can be had anywhere. Like, you could pay as much as $200 for it. That's how much Air One had them on sale for. I actually got mine from eBay, not eBay. Yes, from eBay. Yeah, I got mine from eBay, and I got it for $80. It came in from someplace like Fiji or Bali or Hong Kong or somewhere. It took a long time for me to get it. It is made from a meteor with some ceramic stuff in it, and it actually just go ahead and do a quantum pendant on YouTube, and you can see a couple of videos. They're like, I think there's like 1 million of them sold in Asia, and what it does is it really helps with your cells, creates an energy field around you, and some of the amazing things that you can do with it, like when you get used to the energy around it, it's basically like a grounding stone, I guess some people would call it. But right away, when you watch the YouTube videos of the quantum pendant, it shows this amazing resistance to heat and fire. And I sort of wasn't like testing it, but I had noticed, you've heard me talk about the fact that I have a fire going in my house all the time in the cold. And I'd noticed that I was able, because I mess around with the fire. When the fire's not going really well, I'll actually sort of pick up logs and stick my hand in heat. But you have an amazingly huge resistance to heat. I noticed that right away. And I keep this on basically all the time. I keep it next to my skin. So that's the quantum pendant. You can look into that. Got into in 2010 was working with my empty stomach and working a morning ritual up. Basically, you're in a unique state when you wake up in the morning. You're, for the most part, unless you stuffed yourself the night before when you went to bed, you're on an empty stomach. Your brain is refreshed. In a sense, you're kind of like born again. Like sleep is like this sort of in the yin yang sense. Sleep is very yin, and so you go into this cold sort of death of winter as you sleep, or death, and then you're reborn when you wake up. And you can take that for whatever it is. It's a regeneration state. With that, you can wake up in the morning, and it's really the best time to do a lot of visualization, to plant thoughts, to like start using law of attraction, to like go through your list of things that you want, affirmations, your wish list to the universe, lots of things. It's best to get up and do the 5 rites first thing in the morning, or whatever. And then the other thing that's really great to do in the morning ritual is I maintain an empty stomach until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And actually right now I think it's nearing 4 o'clock and I haven't actually eaten anything, but I like to like start taking in stuff on that empty stomach. Keep that up. I'm a breakfast skipper. I was naturally a breakfast skipper. I do think I'm an old soul, and skipping breakfast is a good thing. That's what I've always done it. I've never been into breakfast. Like I guess like I grew up in a very traditional sort of American family where my dad ate breakfast all the time, and then I guess at age 13 I was allowed to sort of start recreating the things that I thought were important, and I immediately became a breakfast skipper. So and that's being said as a bad thing, because everybody says breakfast is the most important meal of the day, which is not true. Continuing your fast is the most important thing that you can do. And on that empty stomach, the first thing that you could do is like get yourself hydrated. So take a big, a big glass of water, good fresh water. You could maybe mix some Willard water in it, or whatever you do. You know, the best water that you can drink first thing in the morning. Then I usually take a mouth shot of astragalus. I just take a full teaspoon, put it under the tongue, and it has a really yummy taste depending on where you get it and the grade that it is. It kind of has a slight vanilla, slight peanut buttery taste to it, and different ones like the astragalus from Star West Botanicals is very white. The astragalus from Jing Herbs, for example, is very sort of yellowish orange, but they all kind of have, the astragalus has an absolutely yummy taste. And then I also put in, on my empty stomach ritual, is I take the Be Right by Jarrow. I take that under my tongue and make my first tea, which is generally, I have lots of teas going. I drink my tea in the morning, and I'm not trying to go through my whole ritual as much as I'm saying use that empty stomach, and try to get in the habit of there's lots of things that you can take on an empty stomach that are more effective, like the Cantron, the Protocell. Even if you're not dealing with a chronic disease, taking a little Protocell 2 or 3 times a day, Cantron, which is an insane antioxidant, you take that on an empty stomach. You can take some silver on an empty stomach, and you know, anyways, so that empty stomach ritual is something I plan on continuing. You know, that's a good thing, and you can do all kinds of variations on that, however you want. And let's blast through a few things on YouTube, like great things I love on YouTube. Best of 2010. Doing that, I have to, like, a part of my best of 2010 is to give a major thumbs up to Secrets of Longevity, Zach. I didn't get on YouTube to join with the community so much, although it's where I wound up. I did it more as a journal for myself, like a video, a diary, if you will. And so along the way I picked up a lot of people who were more looking to adapt to tribal consciousness. And so somebody that I just got to give a real heavy thumbs up to, because I don't do a lot of scholarly research or present research or data in my blogs. I just say this is what I'm doing, and my only firm ground that I stand on is that, again, I'm trying to say as somebody who's saying stuff, is my 47 years. I've been doing the health thing for a long time, and the channel. His stuff is very well researched. It definitely stands where I stand on almost every subject, and if you're looking for the science background and the research on things that I say, that's where you need to go to. A lot of my lecture I have coming up on fruitarianism, supplementation, and a lot of my belief system, I'm actually going to reference a lot of his work in terms of the scholarly background, the research background on a lot of that stuff. Big thing to check out all the time in terms of understanding the esoteric, because let's just face it, the mainstream is bullshit. TV is totally designed to keep you engaged, to keep you not thinking. And so this blog, to the best of my knowledge, this guy seems like he puts up repeats of, or just basically puts on YouTube what appears on Coast to Coast, a syndicated radio show which features a lot of esoteric, metaphysical, left political thinking, conspiracy thinking, all that kind of stuff. But it's called the Dude Iranok 2. His first channel was censored and dropped by YouTube. The Dude Iranok was the first one that was dropped, and now he has the Dude Iranok 2, and that features a lot of great stuff up from just mystics like Terence McKenna, It's the first name that comes to mind. People like Ramdas. The list is endless. A lot of the names I don't even recognize, but what appears on there. Another one is Drunvalo Melchizedek. That's the kind of stuff that the mainstream doesn't put on, and doesn't talk about, and like basically dismisses it as crap.